the deputy in opposition in Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
And when the elections were held, the last elections in 2018 were held, he was hunted down and he had to flee to Zambia. So I was called, I was 4 a.m. I'm being called, right? And I had to organize lawyers, I had to run around.
It was clearly a military coup. It was a horrific military raid. They were clearly after his life.
Thank you. And thank you for everything, my friend, you did in August 2018, which helped save my life.
They're talking about his mother. Even his own mother was besieged by soldiers because they wanted to change the election results. They eventually managed to change the election results, right? So Mnangagwa became president through rigging.
Yes.
And using literally a coup, yeah?
Well, it's what his father did.
Yeah. So now, this time, I managed to go back to Zambia. We don't allow fake news. You know, these politicians, they create fake news.
Of course, yeah.
So my role as a publisher is to ensure that I play my part and publish the truth. The truth is, this man is not president of Zimbabwe at all. He's not. Here is the evidence. But most importantly, you see an apology similar to the one that was done in the 1940s over the Holocaust, right? And the one that facilitated, that helped to spring up out the nation of Israel into existence. So it's an apology to say, look, we apologize that our country allowed this to happen. So this being done before the UN, to say, look, this was wrong.
I don't give up. One
That's
thing
why
about me,
so I've spent
I have to stay strong.
more than
Get
10,
down to the
11
ground.
days.
Touchdown in Lusaka. And upon landing here, I find out, first of all, the infrastructure is building. And the road networks are starting to shape up. Look at this. Look at this. We get into the city. I managed to get to Edgar Lungu's property, his house right at the gate.
So finally we arrive at the home. We are told by neighbors here that this is the home of the former president Edgar Lungu. As you can see here, we've been directed by a few kids who told us that when we get to a property, this is where Lungu stays. Up right above here, the Jura wall, which is more than 2 meters high, is a my brother. You know what? Just I can't come all this far.
You didn't come to see him, did you?
I did.
What time did you leave?
Do you want me to show you my ticket?
No.
No, let me show you my ticket.
You came a long time ago.
No.
Madam, good evening. Madam, good evening.
Let me show you my ticket. Let me show you my ticket.
No. You can't see him today. It's not possible. You have time. No, not even time. You have to make an appointment through the office.
Okay, which office?
This, you know the old office for former president?
Office of the
one
former
used
president.
by- yeah, the one.
We don't live here, we live in England, both of us.
All of you?
Yeah.
Okay. You know where Bishop Road is?
Bishop Road.
You are... Okay. You've been to Zambia before?
My first time.
Your first time? Yourself first time? Are you Zambian, you people?
No.
You are from...
Half Zambian, half Zimbabwean.
half Zambian, half
All we want is for a clear statement of truth, an apology that breaks the fake news propagated by both Edgar Lungu and Emmerson Mnangagwa. And this is an apology over the coup that they did on Nelson Chamisa through the deportation of Tendai Biti in 2018. You have to make an appointment, the gentleman tells us there, and we leave Edgar Lungu's property with no success. We continue pushing to obtain the statement which should bring the slab, or here we say press the button, the single button that should solve the problems for Zimbabwe once and for all. By this time, lawyers far and wide have made it very clear that this apology will be the reset button necessary to fix the country. So managed to meet a very influential man who grew up with Emmerson Mnangagwa and is very close to the new president Hichilema. His name is Ambassador Venon Mwanga. He emphasized
a firm commitment to democracy and to the holding of free and fair elections. Both the African Union and SADC have got very specific provisions in their protocol demanding that all member states should hold free, fair and credible elections which should represent, whose outcome should represent the will of the people, not the will of the leaders, but the will of the people, because the people are at the center of democracy. So it has to be understood that as we move forward as countries or as a continent, that we must respect the wishes of the people by not interfering with elections and by not interfering with people who are actually going to take part in voting for leaders of their choice. This is extremely important, and unless member states of the AU and SADC adhere to these provisions, the OAU, the AU, and SADC are committed to, and to which we are all committed to as member states, because we approved those provisions. And it's important that we should not just approve them, we should honor them and make sure that the will of the people is respected.
What about in this case also? Evidence coming up lately is that the ruling ZANU-PF has banned a documentary that clearly shows that there was a coup in 2018 when also President Lungu participated in that operation by deporting Tendai Biti to strengthen it. Yes. So with such evidence here, will SADC, will the African Union, will the UN take in someone who has such a background? I mean, accommodate someone to meetings? I mean, from your background.
Well, under normal circumstances, it would not be fair to do that, because the commitments which were made by our country were for the holding of free, fair, and credible elections. And that the campaigns, because elections are not a single event, they're a process. The process starts with voter registration, which should not be interfered with. Allow people to register as voters, and then ensure that they verify their particulars, their details in the registers, voters registers which come out. And thereafter, of course, the campaign starts, and the campaign must be free. People must be free to campaign and not be interfered with, because one of the biggest mistakes that has been made by a number of countries, not just in Africa, but in other third world countries especially, is to interfere in this process. Once there is interference, then you cannot produce free, fair, and credible elections. So it is important that the leaders understand what they committed themselves to by accepting these protocols, which